Welcome to the Jennn O'Clcok news. As you can see from the title, Verb and Swamp is heating up again, and Verb is coming with some receipts. Wing is laying down the law. There's been a lot of drama going on between Trenches and RB's Bricks. We're going to talk about that as well. Plus, the ladies are continuing their Woman of the Year momentum, and they are hungry. They're outside. We're going to talk about what the ladies are doing, but we are going to start with Lloyd Banks, who popped into Verb Spaces the other day. Lloyd Banks, super in tune with the battle rap culture. Often see him tuned in to Verb's spaces. He is just coming up. He was talking. It was a really interesting chat. I think Henny has it in full. So go and check that out. It's dropping gems upon gems. And yeah, he's coming up on the 20-year anniversary of the Hunger for More. And kind of, it's interesting, a lot of the conversation centered around hunger. I don't know what was going on before, or what the conversation was before Banks jumped in, but they seem to be talking about the subject of choking, which has been a hot topic recently, obviously. in the WOTY talks, there was a lot of talk and a lot of emphasis placed on choking consistently not being a champion-like attribute. And then also from Chess, heartbreakingly so, right? Recently, just choke after choke after choke. So yeah, it's the discussion has been in the ether. So yeah, Lloyd Banks chimed in on it, and I've got just a couple of clips from his conversation, a few minutes. Like I say, check out the conversation in full. But he had something to say about choking and a potential solution for it, which I thought was really interesting. I'm all about solutions. So I thought I would share this one from you. So let's have a listen to what Banks is saying.
Then it doesn't even necessarily mean you're nervous all the time. It's just it could just be anxious to what you about to do to that venue,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody once told me, whenever you don't feel that way no more, you need to move on, brother.
That's real.
You understand? That's for one. For two, me just paying attention to what's going on. I feel like 2 decades into this shit, I still do sound check, right? So if I was to do a concert and I fucked up, sound check earlier. I'm gonna be, instead of a 30-minute rundown, I'm gonna be in there for 2.5 hours, right? So with that being said, the league owners, if I was the league owner, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be the league owner, but it gotta be somebody within the staff. If you have product that's consistently inconsistent, it has to be some type of screening, right? So you got people flying into cities and shit, whatever city it may be. If you get in the day before, based off they say you're only as good as your last showing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If your last showing wasn't, it wasn't your best showing, regardless of your status, I feel like you should be in a screening. Like I don't
Facts.
know.
Sound check.
Yeah, you should have a sound check. If you there the day before, if you can't complete your fucking rounds the day before, I at least know if you're not completing them because you're not prepared or you didn't complete them because you choked.
Nah,
Cause
that's good game. That's good game.
right,
And not to
because
cut your wisdom. Go ahead. Go ahead. My bad.
it is the difference. You can be completely prepared and choke, but if I'm putting my money into this situation, I need to at least know he came prepared. He was prepared. He went to practice. You know what I mean? He
Nah,
trained hard.
that's valid.
But you
And this
gotta treat the ones that
He was making points, right? If you've got form, if you are a consistent, continual offender when it comes to choking, should there be a screening process for you? I think one of the talks that, has centered around chess for a long time, and perhaps, in other areas as well, or from other people, is is he choking because he's unprepared? Does he know his rounds? Does he know them well enough to be able to wrap them under pressure? Or is it some sort of anxiety thing when, he knows his rounds, but when the pressure hits and the lights come on and you're on the big stage and you've got this ferocious opponent in front of you, are you still able to deliver? You know your stuff. So, it's two different situations, and both of them have solutions, right? If you consistently don't know your material, then you are a bad investment for a league. You are a continual disappointment for the fans. So for the league, that's it. They don't want to keep booking you. Whereas if you do have some sort of issue that causes you to mess up your material that well inside and out continually, then there's a potential solution for that and things can be done. And if that problem is identified through a screening process and you still aren't taking steps to solve that problem, then again, perhaps you shouldn't be booked. But yeah, I thought it was a very interesting point. You could have, right, somebody literally going through the battlers rounds with them, not sparring, but day before, actually making them run their rounds and making sure they know it. Lloyd Banks had a solution as to who might be a worthy person to do this. So let's hold on, let me bring
Especially
up.
in a big room, sometimes like in the geek,
Hold on, I wanna
especially in a big.
didn't edit this one properly, so let me just bring up
Yeah,
the one.
this is product at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like
You
this is
want me to
product.
do it? I'll do it.
They would love that.
I'll
I would.
show up and I'll do that shit, my nigga, because it
Make
has.
sure a nigga ready, right?
I'm a
I
fan.
would love to do that, nigga. Spin my rounds with Lloyd Banks. What you talking
No,
about,
I'm a
nigga?
fan, man. At the end of the day, and it's like I had this
I
conversation a lot, because I'm just looking at the culture. I'm looking at where it's going. I hear statements and shit like that, and this is like, this is art in its purest form. The shit came so far, you know what I mean? And this happens all over the place. It ain't just battle rap. Like this shit happening, in mainstream hip hop, all type of shit. Contracts and
mm-hmm,
shit, they go up,
Wallahi.
they go down. You know what I'm saying? You gotta
mm-hmm.
adjust.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta adjust. But motherfuckers gotta start acting like, what's the kryptonite? The kryptonite is like, when we all come into the game, when I was 19, 20, I probably had a 50 clip at
Mm-hmm.
All
any
raps.
at any
Mm-hmm.
given day. That it don't matter
Mm-hmm.
if a fucking car blew up across the
Well,
street.
you had 100 Banks. I ain't gonna lie.
That's what I'm saying. We all did. But the more you get into the game, right, what happens is everything becomes a money thing now. So something we did so effortlessly, like when we go to flex for the first 2 or 3 times, we
Right,
prepared. We got 20 on deck. Now,
right.
if you take an artist that's 20 years in the game, he has to probably prepare to give you one verse to go to
Yeah, he
flex.
do for
I
sure.
think the issue with that is everybody
Oh no, I've been talking on mute again the whole time. Oh my God, Jenny, you've got to stop doing this. I've got to be better. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to anyone who's listened. I'll put a timestamp. Oh, that is so disappointing. And I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, basically, Banks was making great points in that conversation and circling back to the fact that he also spoke about his, 20 years of the hunger for more. A lot of the conversation talked about motivation and the lack of it, and how motivated people are right now. And he also talked about, he mentioned it there in that clip, yeah, things are, battle rap is in, a transition. He didn't say that. He was saying, there's ebbs and flows in this thing, and that's the normal thing. It's the same thing that happens in the industry. Things move, things change, things evolve, and people have to adapt. And some people aren't meant to adapt, and they'll fall back, and new people come through, and others, yeah, they rehome, revamp, go back to the drawing board, or go back to what made them hungry. And he talked about that and gave a great quote. I can't remember what the quote was, but basically talking about, when you're not hungry anymore, that's when it's time to hang up your hat. And he said that he himself, when he's lacking in motivation, he takes himself back to that place, at day one, when he was right at the beginning of his journey, that day one, first day, writing alone in his bedroom. That hunger that he had then, he tries to mentally put himself in that bag and in that place, right, so he can produce that fire material that you that doing your best that you do when you're hungry and when you're motivated. So yeah, it was interesting, him as not an outsider, to the central battle rap community, but someone who's also part of the industry, giving that insight and that comparison. I thought it was very on point. It seemed like quite an in tune observation. Battle rap really is in a transitional period where you've got URL moving on from their caffeine deal, independent, moving closer and closer to complete independence. They've got their own studio now, working with that, doing pay-per-views through the app, live events through the app. You've got ARP, who is falling back, talking about retirement, talking about putting on specific events that he wants to put on, but nothing, like what he was doing before. But you've got, the whole BRICS movement kind of being pushed through. Um, there's a lot, URLs, new class, or I say new class, the Crucible classes, making a lot of noise. You've got other leagues as well, really coming, uh, making brands for themselves, really marketable brands that are putting on consistently good events and producing battlers, really talented battlers who are pushing, their leagues through the roof. You've got battlers with their own leagues as well, who are making big noise as well, throwing regular events, getting stronger and stronger. So yeah, things are really transitioning, and I thought that was a great conversation. So yeah, go and check it out. Like I said, it's on Trap News Daily. That's the new battle rap trap name. Shout out to Henny. I'm sure he's got the full conversation there. So go and have a look at it. I was going to do more, but you know what? That's enough. I can't, because I've got Verb on the cover, right? I've got Verb and Swamp. Let's do that. Let's do that. These are short, bite-sized topics of news. I guess I spent longer on that, especially as I had to recap where I was on mute for so long. But let's transition to Swamp and Verb. And hold on, where's my Swamp and Verb? Can we not transition to Swamp and Verb? Why don't I have that here? Oh, Jen. Come on, girlie. Bear with me just a moment. Oh, this is ridiculous. Let's see. Can I? Okay. All right. So Swamp and Verb spent, they spent all of 2023, right, going back and forth with each other, throwing shots, belittling each other, teasing a battle. Battle never transpired, blaming each other for why the battle hasn't transpired. I think we talked yesterday, or was it the day before, about this heating back up again. But, when Verb gets a bee in his bonnet about something, then there's it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going until he picks up another bone and starts chewing on that. But he's back on Swamp now, and he was talking about him in the spaces, and someone had asked, didn't Swamp have the opportunity to battle Verb twice already? Didn't Gerald even offer to put up his own money to make it happen, or am I tripping? Swamp says, get your facts, baby girl. It ain't on me. Y'all believe anything. Verb says, nah, it's Beasley. And Swamp asks him to prove it. So Verb, of course, proves it. Now, he says, Swamp, this is the light version. I have way more in detail, down to the price. He asked me to go lower than the price for Easy on a grudge. Absolutely not. So basically, he then shares his messages with Beasley. You can go and look at them on Verb's timeline if you want. But basically, them going backwards and forwards about contracts, and Verb wants Beasley to send the contract now, and Beasley is saying, we're not doing it now. The battle is months and months away. And then I think when it was 4 weeks before the battle or something, or 2 months, was it 2 months to the battle? You have 2 months to prepare. Beasley was saying, okay, I'll send the contract now. And then more back and forth, right? So just pass up, just back and forth. But Verb is saying, dude, I'm really trying to not show something that will trigger you. You're going to keep playing and you are going to be mad. So he's teasing, like, that was just light, but I've got something that's going to really piss you off, I guess, trying to insinuate that maybe Beasley was talking shit about him. Who knows? That's my pure speculation. Swamp says, you're right. They should have made sure we was locked in and deposit sent out early. But standard procedure is you get a deposit once the contracts are signed, and you wanted that damn near 3 months early. Overall, I was lied to, though. Both of y'all lied. So Swamp is saying you and Beasley both lied to me, because he's saying Beasley told me something different. Verb says, you can keep going. Your mama said every day a contract was coming. I've been there 14 years. It never takes that long. I can keep going. He know I'm not going to go lower than the easy price. He played with you. So Verb is basically saying he's telling you one thing, but he knows he's not going to book this battle. He knows my price. If he wanted the battle, he would have paid me my price. We would have got the contracts early. Beasley didn't want to book you. Beasley, there was, you're not worth it, basically. Verb is, Swamp says, you're slow if you think this shows anything beside contracts and deposits not going out 2 months before the battle. They both lied. Verb says, I told Beasley I'm not waiting on you because I'm not in-house. They were constantly booking artists and ignored this fight. You're lost in your mind still defending them. You'll be angry. He says you'll be angry if I keep going. Swamp says, you're right. They should have made sure we was... Okay, we've done that. Verb then says, for the past 4 years, URL has put in your mind that this one style of stretched word forced aggression MC was the standard. Outside of that app, no one listens to them guys. The rare was pushed to the back on purpose because the new style guy is cheaper. Now that's over. The culture is moving faster without that sound. So this is, this is one of Verb's long-time arguments. It came up yesterday in the discussion with Lloyd Banks, or in some sort of fashion. It came up again in the spaces earlier. So he's tying that in together with his swamp stuff. Being cliquish, letting them girls control booking, and playing with people with name playing with people names with them app numbers stopped everything. It pushed your trash to the front, and as soon as they got there, the money left. Now every other platform has dog fights except URL. He's really trashing URL, which is crazy because URL just dropped a crazy card. We're going to see what happens. Obviously, there was the chess fiasco. Things didn't go great with the volume, but like this whole URL is washed is so crazy, and it's kind of just testament to the standard, the bar that they've set. Obviously, there was a slowdown after caffeine, and they are again in a transitional period. The Smack has come out and said the money is not the same. Some of the big names have come out and said, yeah, the money's still not the same for us, but it's just you lot. So, some things are different for some people. There are a lot more active leagues. The situation, the climate is different, but URL is not washed. And, everyone had a quiet start to the year. We'll see what happens. But the thing is, we don't want do you want URL to be washed? Because you've got ARP saying we're not going to be doing no big events like we used to. Like, I'm going to put on these small like the circle events that I want to, battles I want to see, things that we might have a sponsor for, or I or Lawrence might want to pay for, whatever. We'll do things like that. But then big events, then big max outs, and like no more. Like, we're not doing them. So where are the big events coming from? Like I said, you've got leagues like the Riot, Bullpen, Trenches even put on a big event with the Easy and John battle. Chrome have gone quiet, but looks like they might be coming back. But we need URL. We need them to find that rhythm and to be putting on those big fights, because that's where it looks like it's going to be coming from this year. But anyway, I digressed massively. And then he says, when you put them trash guys in front, they drop the ball because they're not real rappers. The Circle series is now hot because real rappers have been there. Wherever real rappers go is where people follow. So Verb is saying, I'm, me, real rapper. This is what I do. That's I guess Verb is making that. I really didn't think the Circle is Verb's element. I didn't think he was great in there. I think he needs some sort of a crowd. Is the pacing was off, and it just, I feel like he needs that crowd vibe to make it a little bit more entertaining. I don't think he does specifically well in there, because whilst he can be a showman, I think he needs a crowd to feed off of, and he doesn't have that in the Circle. I haven't yet seen Young Ill and the Saga, but it sounds like, for me, a lot of Verb stuff is super dated. Young Ill was super dated in his last battle. Yeah, he had that, he had a punchier, more kind of in tune third round. I hope when I watch the Saga battle, there's been a lot of people hyping it up. So I hope, he will have kind of found or tapped into a more kind of current vibe. But it's still early days yet for the Circle. If we're talking the Blue Room or something, that's, a different vibe, whatever, but it's very early days for the Circle. Then he says, and Swamp is still saying I lied to him. Insane. After showing him the texts, that guy is warped. That man said I was lying. I showed him clips of texts saying I want this done and how long I've been waiting. He said me and Beasley both lied to him instead of just saying Bees lied to him. This type of human will beat me. That is so dramatic. Hold on. Oh, that cracked me up. This type of human, at least he's a human, because with Verb, right, it's often food. Like this type of chicken sandwich will beat me, or this type of raccoon sandwich, or whatever. That's this type of human will beat me at nothing. When your rappers understand that the attack you're doing, the world don't care about, y'all will grow. The world don't care. Only that little app fans, and they don't exist. I'm putting y'all in a blender and keeping it moving. So why are you going back and forth with Swamp still? What's the point? Like, we know, Verb. See, the thing is, so let's close. Is this the last one? Because while I was gathering my files, I saw this tweet from Jay Black, completely unrelated to Swamp and Verb. It was just something, I guess he's talking about something. I don't know what he's talking about, but when I was gathering my tweets and stuff, it made me laugh. What if the problem is you need there to be a problem, right? And this is Verb's shtick. He needs there to be a problem, specifically with URL right now, and often with a specific battler, because that's what keeps him relevant in between battles. He's great at staying in the algorithm, for want of a better word. He's great at staying in the conversation of, just finding a bugbear, finding an issue, a problem. I say finding a problem, creating a problem, and then spending however long kind of going over the problem and the potential solutions and why he is the solution normally, and it just continues and continues and continues. I think is he battling a little bit more frequently now, and I guess he's been doing better than he had done in the past, so he's kind of using his work a little bit more, but he's still using this stuff to keep him in the ether. So yeah, it's smoke and mirrors, right? It's a lot of smoke and mirrors. But yes, this has been a late show, much later than I actually intended it to be. But yeah, this is live. If you're still in the chat, Densin, comprehend. Apologies to anyone who's listening now who got that big long air of silence. I am doing these daily Jennn O'Clcok news, bringing you sort of bite-sized chunks of news, all the trending topics, whatever's on the timeline, announcements and stuff, on a daily basis, so that it's a challenge, one a day for 100 days. I am doing these to help me with my consistency, help me with overcoming procrastination and a few things. And this challenge was inspired by a UK battle rapper called Koj, who he recently battled real sick. He had some dope battles last year against Rivers, against Gemini. Go and check him out. He's got a lot of work on Premier Battles, and he is doing a one a day challenge on TikTok where he crafts a beat, writes a 16 to it, and uploads a video on a daily basis. And he's been doing that. He's on, I think, day 94 was today. We're on day 4, so we're 90 days behind, and we're actually 100 days. So I am closing out each show with one of KJ's freestyles, starting right back from the beginning. So we're on number 4 now, and it's dope because you can really see the progress that he's made in the 94 days that he's been doing this. This is Koj. Finally, I've got the graphic. You can check him out on at Koj Lives on TikTok. Go and follow him on there. Go and share his stuff. I am following him. I'm not signed into TikTok on my Mac. I am on my phone, and I think he's one of like 2 people that I follow or something on there. So go and give him a follow. Check out his freestyles and watch his progress. Let's watch him from number 4 now. Let's have a look, ladies and gentlemen. Koj. But yeah, I will be back tomorrow. ARP dropped a magnum opus on Hip Hop Is Real. I can't say a magnum opus. It was a full-length feature film style interview with knowledge that I started watching earlier. So I'll probably bring you some tidbits from that tomorrow. And I'm gonna watch the I might do a recap as well of the Coffee Brown and Rock Lee Rookie of the Year versus number 2 Woman of the Year. They just had a battle, or their battle just dropped recently, so I might do a recap of that. I'm fans of both of these women, so yeah, look out for that. And yeah, I'll be back with the Jennn O'Clcok news tomorrow, and thanks for tuning in. But let's let Koj sign us out now.
One a day till 100K. They said I'm too dull to ever make the cut. Till I handled it, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Till I brandish it, I ask God for a light to guide me. It ain't a candlestick, my path lit, but a lamp I'm having my wish granted with. My life was turned into horror with all the gory parts. Till I put a pen to the paper and wrote my story arc. I chose to put an end to my ending even before it starts. Plot twist, you get a shot like I read with a Morris cards. I'm in it for the long haul, the vision is beyond y'all. I do it for my old friends in school playing wall ball. I do it for my family. Been a minute since I called mom. I do it for my vanity. I'm never gonna fall off. I do it for the team. CFB is the bomb squad. I do it for my dreams. So little me wasn't all talk. I do it for the scene. Make history with a hallmark. I'll do it all again just to make up for the false start. Code.
That shit. Let's go. I mean, we